Okay, how we doing, boys and girls? We're going to take a look at what the United States was going through after World War I. Really look at some of this prejudice against foreigners, against immigrants, how it played out, and if it's still around today. Okay, so after the war, the economy is adjusting. I mean, during the war, farm orders are up, factory orders are up. You know, the economy generally does all right during the war. After World War I, the economy is adjusting. They're going to reduce taxes. It's kind of this transition period. Okay, a lot of the soldiers that come home take the jobs from the women that were working the jobs, from the minorities, especially blacks that moved up from the South to work these jobs, and factories and farmers are really suffering. Okay, now, during this time, there starts to become these feelings of nativism, which is a prejudice against foreign-born people, kind of blending into racism against all immigrants. Along with that, this feeling of isolationism, that the United States doesn't want to get involved in the world affairs. Okay, I mean, you think about it, if you want to be isolated at home, what do? You go in your room, you shut your door, you put your beats on, you just chill out, leave me alone. This is what the United States is going to be doing because they don't want to be involved in another war. And we're going to be isolated until we get involved in World War II. Okay? Remember, this League of Nations that was created, we don't join it. All right? We created it, but we don't join it because we want to be isolated. All right? Now, around this time, right after World War I, actually during World War I, there's the communist revolution in the Soviet Union, okay? And there starts to be this fear that communism is going to spread to the United States. You have communists, socialists, anarchists, anarchists are against all forms of government. An anarchist just killed the president, William McKinley, a few years back. They're bombing on Wall Street. Oh, bless me. Okay. Whew, bless me. Okay. And there starts to be this fear of communism. Okay. Now, what communism is? This is a very simplified version. A communist government, the government has total control on what you can do, where you can work, who you vote for. Actually, if they have elections, you're only allowed to vote for one, whoever the government picks, but it's a total control system, okay? It's set up almost to be classless, that you don't have upper or lower class. Everyone is supposed to be equal. You compare that to what we have here. People have control. The politicians are supposed to represent the people. We have votes. You have freedom of speech. So it's kind of an opposite system of what we have in the United States. Okay. Now, when the communists take over in Russia, this fear that, you know what, there's some people that are suffering in the United States, and they're saying, hey, you know, communism looks kind of good. You know, everybody equal? You mean the government will take care of me? And the Communist Party starts to get more following in the United States, and people start freaking out. They're thinking, oh, man, we saw what happened in Russia. They overthrew their government, you know, people getting killed, this bloody revolution. And there starts to be this fear of communism, and it's referred to as the Red Scare, red being the color of communism, that these communists are going to take over. Okay? Now, what happens is the Attorney General, a guy by the name of A. Mitchell Palmer, so he's the head law enforcement in the country, goes against all communists, anarchists, socialists, rounding them up and literally deporting them. Okay? So there's this fear of what happened in Russia that we don't want it to happen here. We don't want communism spreading here. Okay? You know, remember, anarchists, they don't want any government. All right? And a lot of times people are, oh, who cares about anarchists? Well, like I said earlier, anarchists just killed the president. They're bombing, you know, buildings, government buildings. They, you know, horse and buggy bomb outside Wall Street, the stock exchange in New York. There's other protest rallies that end up with bombs exploding, people being killed. I mean, this is legit fear for Americans. But what happens is the government kind of goes a little bit far and just says, oh, you're a communist, we're shipping you out. We're arresting you. You know, it's kind of like, it's not illegal to be in a gang. Now, it's illegal to do illegal things, but just to be in a gang, it's not illegal. You know, to be a communist is not illegal, but what they're doing is they're saying, you're a communist, you're arrested, okay? And this is wrong, all right? Now, we'll talk about communism more today or tomorrow in class, okay? Now, here's A. Mitchell Palmer, the Attorney General. His house actually gets bombed by suspected anarchists. So, I mean, they're really going after high-profile figures. You know, the Attorney General, the President. I mean, this is serious stuff, okay? You know, you see political cartoons like this where, you know, you see the European anarchist all crazy looking. He's got his bomb and his knife about to stab the Statue of Liberty in the back. And there starts, again, to be this connection with they're immigrants, therefore they must be anarchists or communists, okay? That's the same sort of thing. I'm white. People in the Ku Klux Klan are white. Does that mean because I'm white, I'm in the Klan? No, that's absurd. But what happens is people start to think, you know what? Those anarchists, they were immigrants. There's some immigrants, they must be anarchists. Okay, anytime you make that large assumption with a big group of people, not a good idea. Okay, now we're going to see this Red Scare, like I said, feed into this fear of foreigners. Okay, now what's going to happen is there's going to be these two guys, all right, these two Italian immigrants. They're anarchists, they're atheists, which is another issue. They dodged the draft during World War I. They're going to be charged with murder and robbery. Okay, now their alibi is a little sketchy. People say he was at work. No one really knows. You know, there's a lot of racism. He said, she said, all this stuff. Whatever the case may be, the trial doesn't prove they're guilty. Okay, you may think they're guilty or not, but ultimately the trial's not this, you know, open and shut case. Now, the jury decides. You got a lot of people that are openly racist towards immigrants. The judge is openly nativist. Remember nativism, this fear and dislike of foreigners. And they're going to be found guilty, all right? And they're going to be executed. And they become this kind of poster children, kind of the martyrs for the Red Scare, okay? They're singled out because they're anarchists, because they're Italian. And what we're going to see is large spread protests. Here's Sacco and Vanzetti right here, handcuffed together. All right, you're going to see mass protests around the world. Okay, we want justice, defend liberty, liberty or death. Okay, their funeral procession outside Boston, you get 50,000 people coming to see their funeral procession. These are just two regular poor old guys. You know, walking behind the hearse. You know, do you think everybody in this procession knew who they were? Heck no. They're there because they're thinking, you know what? That could have happened to me. Okay. Now, were Sacco and Vanzetti kind of rough around the edges? Yeah. Okay. They were members of this, you know, anarchist group. They were members of this gang. But again, their guilt is still kind of up in the air. All right. Now, when you have this anti-immigrant attitudes, everyone's starting to think that immigrants are all bad and are all communists. Okay, we're going to see the Ku Klux Klan rise up again. Now, the first time the Klan rises up after the Civil War, 1865, they're pretty much just trying to focus on blacks. Okay, keeping blacks down, especially in the South. Now, the Klan now is going to really be a lot more. They're going to hate a lot more people than just blacks. Jews, Catholics, immigrants, people that drink, unions, all right? And we're going to see the Klan really rise up between 4 and 5 million members, okay? You know, that is not just this small group. You know, a lot of times you think of today, it's like, oh, yeah, the Klan, they're just some crazy redneck racist. No, this is for real, okay? I mean, these guys are for real, okay? Almost 5 million members, all right? You know, there's governors that are in the Ku Klux Klan, there's senators, there's mayors, there's chief of police, sheriff. I mean, they're really controlling several, you know, a lot of states, making policy. You see the Ku Klux Klan walking down the street here, and the thousands of Klan members walking down a parade in Washington, D.C. You know, you're not able to just walk down the street in a Klan outfit if people aren't supporting you. Okay, now remember again, 5 million people are members. A lot of people support this. All right, you have women in the Ku Klux Klan. Excuse me. Uh-oh, we froze up. Okay, these Klan rallies. Now, to go one step further, you have these groups. You have Sacco Vanzetti. The United States is actually going to put a limit and shut the door on immigrants. You know, we're supposed to be this land of welcoming people, welcoming immigrants. What we do, because there's so many immigrants coming in, we create something called the quota system, and we're going to put a cap on the number of immigrants that can come each year. Okay, and each country has a certain amount that they can come, and because of the way it's worded, it's really going to discriminate against Southern and Eastern Europeans. You know, Polish, Italians, where a lot of these Jewish and Catholic immigrants are trying to come in. It does not apply to the Western Hemisphere. We've already previously do not let Chinese enter. There's restrictions on Japanese. So this isn't just, you know, oh, the Klan. I mean, this is for real. It's big time policy not letting immigrants come into the country. You know, you look at something like this, and this, so I'm going to end with this. You see all these people trying to come in. Uncle Sam, the only way to handle it, put this gate up and really discriminated against who can come in and who can't, based only on where you're from. All right? So we'll talk about this more in class and talk about if it's still this bad today. All right? So have a good day, and I will see you guys